about me. He said,
Mr. Confidence returns to save fighting again. Call your grandma. Nanny, we did it. Watch and pay me. Fuck you, pay me. You fat Irish prick. You don't have my money. I put your brain to sleep. Who's that? What's that about? Who's he talking about? C is in the casinos after. The Mac loves yous all. I got love for yous. It's an it's an honor. It's light work. It's easy. For life and eternity, it's McGregor. How drunk was he when he wrote this? I do this fight game easy peasy. The sound of my shots off the head go bing in green dot laser form. Okay. Well, I really hope he is actually back. I mean, he's the most dynamic personality the sport's ever known.
And he was, for a time there, just such an unbelievable fighter. I mean, he was it was incredible what he was doing.
The Eddie Alvarez fight.
Oh yeah, I was
example.
there. I was there. Well, thanks to you. With really good seats, thanks to you. But that was one of the best. That might be the best fight I've ever been to live, because that whole card was just stacked, and that as the main event was just unbelievable.
Bro, he was in the Matrix. He was in the Matrix. He was just in the zone. You know, Dana said it best. He's like, that kid eats pressure. He goes, he eats it.
Yeah.
Like, he thrives on pressure. Pressure that makes other people wilt.
Yes.
He, like, shines under that pressure.
And he had an amazing ability, even very early in his career, which was, like, kind of, it was really unique. Like, because even, like, on his first fight ever, if you watch his first fight in the UFC against, like, Brimage, I think the guy's name is, and he was a relatively unknown at the time, but, dude, the place is going nuts. He already had made so much kind of like street cred for himself, and then the Irish thing, like the Irish were really, really into it. But he, from the very first fight, he would always create these moments where it's like, dude, this is going to be the biggest spectacle that my opponent has ever been in their career. Like, I'm going to get you mad with shit talk, and I'm going to get the fans so excited, because he's completely comfortable there.
Right.
Like, I'm not sure if you're really comfortable here, but and so it would, and even with Aldo, who had been the entire division, he literally, when they started the division, they started him as champion. He didn't even win it. He came in because they absolved the WEC. So he was the entire featherweight division, had just dominated everyone, and he even created such a moment that like Aldo was like,
he was the boogeyman.
Yeah, dude, he was incredible.
He's
one of the greatest
featherweights of all time.
But he got him to the point where he was like so furious that he was like, I'm gonna take this fucking guy's head off. And then Conor's just like relaxed. He's like he didn't care about any of the shit talking. He was just like, yeah, we're having fun. Let's play.
He lost his composure. Yeah, and he looked very overwhelmed by the moment. And by the way, everyone from Ireland came to Vegas for that fight. It was the nuttiest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. The entire Mandalay Bay was overcome with
expected hacks, because I'm an fast. I tell you this, how are you doing after your 5-round fight with Oliveira? I thought some of the shots went for the back of the head. You had an opportunity to repay the favor you didn't take. I was disappointed in the result and the outcome of the bout and the shape the bout took. But how's the body? How are you feeling?
What it is, bro.
How's Hawaii?
I'm good.
I look forward to see you
again in Las Vegas. Hawaii's great, brother. Hawaii's great. I can't wait to see you in the 9th Island, brother. How's Dublin? I heard you're sleeping in the gym, so that's great to hear, man. We're glad to have you back. I can't wait to get in there and mix it up, bro. We're gonna make some records.
Max, your fight with Conor was an early loss in your career, and I know you've been very vocal about wanting to get that victory back.
Oh, for sure. It's super fun, you know what I mean? But in Conor's words, I don't even think that's a loss. He said he only count finishes. And last time I checked, that was a decision. So we're on over into this fight, and
I like this. Go, ring the bell.
I like it.
I swear, my head is everything here. My head is everything. Bum. I hope this. Then I hope this. Bum. 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 Okay? Bum. 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 The fight is over here. Fight is over here. And then I want his head. Bum. 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 From here. Bum, 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 end the fight. Shit. Forever, all day, all night. What? His head is right here.
And my strong rockets. These are missiles, yeah.
Conor McGregor is back, and the whole boxing world is losing its mind over it. After everything this man has walked through, the injuries, the comebacks that didn't land, the months sitting out and watching others take the spotlight, people started asking the question nobody wanted to say out loud. Is McGregor done? Can he actually return and remind the world why he was untouchable? But wait, because here's where it gets interesting. McGregor looks sharp, he looks hungry. And now he's locked in to face Max Holloway, a fight that has the entire combat sports world buzzing. Every clip he drops in training, every word he speaks in front of a camera, every bold claim flying around, the hype just keeps climbing. So let me ask you directly, do you still believe in McGregor? Can he walk into that fight under all that pressure against a man like Holloway and actually deliver? Or is this the moment the spotlight finally exposes what time and hard miles...
Going up against Max Holloway in a great fight, how do you see that matchup between those two?
Personally, I think because it's that welterweight, I see Conor knocking him out. Like everyone's counting Conor out and thinks that Max is going to win. If it goes to the later rounds, yeah, Max definitely probably start piecing him up on the feet because he's got that cardio and the volume, but the fact that it's at welterweight I think favours Conor because Charles made Max look small at lightweight, so imagine how big Conor's going to look compared to him at welterweight.
There's only one reason that Conor McGregor hasn't fought in the last at least 2 years, right, since the Michael Chandler pullout or, you know, rescheduling that bout. It's because they're in a very difficult scheduling for Conor McGregor. They know that they want to put him on a massive card. They want to make sure that they get the most value out of Conor, because they're going to pay him a shit ton of money, so they need to get value out of him. And they want to make sure that they can either try to renegotiate with him to keep him under contract, or maybe they don't work as hard to put Conor in a fight if he's not being as receptive to renegotiations or receptive to, you know, whatever the number is they want to give him for a fight. There's always some kind of negotiation issue. There's always some kind, because Conor is, as he said, Abriel, they said I was toast, but I'm still the bread, mate. It's true. He is the cash cow money maker, even still today, 11 years later after winning his first title. That says something. And it's why he hasn't been able to fight, because they want to be very selective, and they're going to iron out every little contingency in his contracts before they get him a fight. It's ridiculous, but it's the way the UFC works. And Zuffa Boxing, you better get ready.
I felt like they could have done announcement with Conor and Holloway at the White House. I feel like that would have went really well for them. I think that would have been cool. I was also thinking about this on the drive-in. One of the reasons, many of reasons, they didn't put Conor on the White House card. Number one is the ticket sales, right? You can tell he's a big draw. Number two is, can you imagine the backlash that the left, CNN would have ran with if Conor, with his accusations in Dublin, going through, you know, the grape stuff and all that?
That's interesting.
I bet you that had a hand in it, where they're like, hey, this is the White House. We're already getting a ton of shit for it. Do we really want Conor's comeback fight after going through all those legal issues in Dublin being at the forefront of this? And the ticket sales, they're like, it's just a lose-lose. I bet you that had something to do with it. They didn't want that negative attention stealing the storylines.
Off on Gaethje.
That's the fight. If Conor McGregor beats Max Holloway beat Justin Gaethje. So the UFC can legitimately make Justin Gaethje versus Conor McGregor immediately. And you put Conor McGregor in a fucking title fight. If he has a really good performance against Max Holloway, which feels very unlikely, but like, let's say it happens, what a fucking fight. Because Justin Gaethje's stock has gone through the roof after the White House. I mean, he's a bona fide legend now. That would be a fucking amazing fight. And that point was pretty much the end of the interview, actually. So yeah, McGregor, is he changing? I think he is. But I think it's going to be a constant battle, and one that he might get knocked down in a few times more before he eventually comes to the point that you kind of hope he would come to. But at least we're seeing some resemblance of a humbleness about him, and just speaking like a man who's actually learned a thing or two over the years, which I think for a long time it was amazing how
Now former UFC champion Michael Bisping hit on something that actually matters here. What does this fight really do to McGregor's legacy? Bisping kept it real. He said straight up that he doesn't know whether Conor has kept pace with how the sport has evolved, or whether stepping into this fight could end up being the moment that defines everything. And honestly, that reasoning is hard to argue with, because if McGregor walks in there and gets beaten, his critics won't hold back. They'll use it to chip away at every single thing he's ever built, every title, every highlight, every moment of greatness questioned. But here's the other side of it. Bisping didn't just throw shade. He took a step back and reminded everyone why this man became a legend in the first place. Think about it. McGregor destroying Eddie Alvarez to become the first fighter in UFC history to hold 2 belts at the same time. Or that blink and you missed it knockout of Jose Aldo, 13
has evolved. And I don't know if Conor McGregor necessarily has. Now, this is a big fight for him, for the sport, for his legacy, right? Because a lot of people are going to talk shit. If he loses this fight, fair weather fans, new people are going to be like, oh yeah, he doesn't seem like he was that good. The McGregor back in the day was that good. That's plain and simple. The way that he took out Eddie Alvarez, that was just beautiful. The Jose Aldo thing, that was one punch that was perfectly timed, incredible. But when he became double champ against Eddie Alvarez, that was a masterclass performance, okay? And then on the microphone saying, I'm going to apologize to absolutely nobody. Standing there with the 2 belts on, the first person to ever do it.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
It was incredible. I'm not glazing the guy. No one can deny that. And that's why he became the biggest star on the planet. And that's why he got opportunities to go and face someone like Floyd Mayweather and make the ridiculous amount of money.
But Bisping didn't stop there. He pointed out something deeper. It's not just McGregor's body that's different this time, it's his whole mentality going into this fight. And that shift is real. Conor looks calmer, more calculated, like a man who finally understands exactly what's sitting on the line. Because this isn't the young, fearless McGregor who could take risks and bounce back like nothing happened. Those days are behind him. He knows it. Bisping knows it. And honestly, do you know it too? At this point in his career, with age creeping and whether he admits it or not,
found enormous pressure from everyone telling him it's finally time to hang it up and retire. And on top of all that, he could end up losing his hard-earned spot among the all-time greats of the sport.
He lives a quiet life on the island of Hawaii, okay, on Hilo or whatever that, whichever island it is. I'm not too sure off the top of my head. Mike's Blessed Holloway. Where's he come from? Honolulu? I don't know off the top of my head. Let me know in the comment section, please. But still, what do you think about McGregor, this new version of himself? He does seem to have calmed down a little bit. He does seem to be taking this one very, very seriously. And he has to. Because if he doesn't get the job done here, at 38 years old, and I think he'll be turning 39 3 days after the fight, if he loses, people will be saying it's time.
Here's your rewritten script. But Bisping isn't the only one throwing his opinion into the ring here. Rising UFC star Pimblett is already calling it. McGregor comes back and gets the job done. And here's why Pimblett is so confident. Moving up to welterweight hands Conor something he didn't always have, a genuine size and strength edge over Max Holloway. And in Pimblett's eyes, that advantage is massive. He's calling a knockout, early, before Holloway even gets the chance to find his rhythm and settle into the fight. But and this is where it gets really interesting, Pimblett didn't completely close the door on Holloway either. He was honest enough to admit that if Max can eat those early shots, survive the storm McGregor brings in those first rounds, and keep pushing forward, then the tide could turn, because Holloway doesn't stop.
up against Max Holloway in a great fight. How do you see that matchup between those two?
Personally, I think because it's at welterweight, I see Conor knocking him out. Like everyone's counting Conor out and thinks that Max is going to win. If it goes to the later rounds, yeah, Max definitely probably start piecing him up on the feet because he's got that cardio and the volume, but the fact that it's at welterweight I think favours Conor because Charles made Max look small at lightweight, so imagine how big Conor's going to look compared to him at welterweight.
But here's where things get really spicy. This whole McGregor conversation goes way beyond just what happens inside the octagon. Former UFC heavyweight Brendan Schaub jumped in with his own theory, and it's one worth paying attention to. He's been talking about why the UFC apparently kept McGregor off that rumored White House appearance. Now, Schaub was clear, announcing a McGregor versus Holloway fight at something that big would have created enormous noise. Massive. But he believes the UFC made a calculated decision to keep Conor away from that moment. And the reason? Think about it. McGregor's legal troubles aren't exactly quiet. The media attention around him isn't exactly calm. And the last thing the UFC wanted was to show up to a high-profile moment only to have the entire story hijacked. Not by the fight announcement, not by the sport,